everyone, this is Tom from Dirk Witte's music store in Utrecht, the Netherlands. And today we're taking a look at a very cool brand new limited edition Takamine guitar for 2025. Because Takamine does that every year. They bring out, like around this time of the year, like in the summertime, they bring out a very cool and very unique limited edition acoustic guitar. They've done so in the previous years. I'm not sure exactly when it started. But last year you had one with like a very cool Galaxy solar system type of theme. Before that you had a model called the Broken Arrow, and now we've got this very fine acoustic, an OM this time. This is the limited edition 2025 OM in a beautiful evergreen green finish with some very pretty looking koa back and sides. This might look like mahogany. At first I thought that was mahogany, but this is actually koa, so that is very cool. You don't see that a lot on models made by Takamine, but this is a very stunning Takamine OM guitar with some very nice specs, and also just sounds and plays fantastic, as we will hear so in a few minutes. But yeah, very cool. So release for 2025. Like I said, it is one of those that they do every single year, where they get very creative. And this one is one of the more subtle ones, I would say, because the last year, like I said, it had like a solar system theme. It was pretty intricate. It had like very unique inlays. And then before that, you had that Broken Arrow one with like turquoise inlays, like actual turquoise stone. Looks super cool. But this one is a little bit more clean, but like in a very good way, because this just looks, yeah, just quite classy if you ask me. And yeah, I'm all up for it. So let's dive into the specs. So we've got an OM body shape with a cutaway. So you can definitely get those OM style of tones, and actually very good also for like finger picking. I was actually kind of surprised by that. And yeah, it is also just not too big, not too small. You can really get like all-round type of tones from this very fine acoustic. We've then got a solid Engelmann spruce top, obviously done in a striking and very beautiful looking evergreen green finish. You've also got some very fancy looking abalone purfling / binding around the top, as well as the sound hole, also then paired with some multiply binding, or purfling I should say, like the abalone's purfling, and then paired with some multiply binding, and then also paired with some turquoise binding, because the outer edge is a faux turquoise, is a faux tortoiseshell, my bad, type of material. Looks super cool. And then, like I said, also the rosette, and then the bridge is what appears to be made out of ebony, and it then also has this signature type of a saddle system / style, which you pretty much only find on Takamine's, to my knowledge, where it is split. So you then get, like, for the wound strings you get one saddle, and then for the unwound strings, so the two treble strings, you also then get an individual saddle. And then you've got these very cool looking bridge pins with the abalone dot inlaid over there on the top. And then on the back and sides you've got solid Hawaiian koa, looking very pretty. And I think that they just used a little bit of a darker stain, because normally koa tends to look a little bit lighter than this, but I think that they just went for like a little bit of a darker stain. But it did kind of, but I did notice that it didn't quite sound like mahogany, like I thought that this was mahogany, but it definitely has a little bit of a unique character. Like koa is quite unique when it comes to the tone. It is not that big on the low end, and it's also it's kind of like falls in between, like I would say, like mahogany and maple, I would say, if that makes sense. Like you don't get like a ton of low end, still plenty of low end, but quite a lot of brightness that you then also kind of typically get from like maple. But like it just sounds really great, as you will hear in a few minutes. Definitely just still very much like all round, but definitely with like its own unique type of character. Then on the back you've then also got that same faux tortoiseshell binding paired with that multiply binding, and then also kind of like a plain back strip also made out of faux tortoiseshell. You've also got a pickup, as we are used to from a lot of Takamine acoustics. So this is the Takamine CTF2N pickup slash preamp system. So you've got quite some buttons and switches. Got a 2-band EQ, got your volume control, got a notch control, and also then a built-in tuner. You plug it in over here at the end pin. Moving on to the neck. That is a mahogany neck with the fingerboards made out of ebony, which is then also bound in that faux tortoiseshell material, so that looks very classy. As for the profile, it's actually a very nice profile. I'm actually quite a big fan of this profile. Really round, so very much like a C shape, a little bit deeper slash chunkier, or like maybe it's like a C to like a U shape, kind of like in between those. So just very nicely rounded and a little bit beefier than like your medium style neck, but yeah, just overall, I just think that this neck is very nice feeling and very comfortable. The nut width is 42.5 millimeters, which is then also made out of bone. And by the way, also these very cool looking inlays made out of this. I'm not entirely sure what these are made out of. They look to be made out of like brass or something. They have this metallic sheen to them, and then also with that kind of like a rim. So not 100% sure, but what I do know is that it looks very cool. And then the headstock with your Takamine decal, also kind of done in that same kind of a brass slash golden type of color. Also has kind of like a metallic reflection to it. And also a very cool looking faux tortoiseshell binding around that headstock paired with that multiply binding. And then on the back we've got these Takamine branded and Godo branded, because these are made out of, by Godo tuners that work really well, and that also look very cool in that gold. So yeah, a very cool acoustic by Takamine, limited edition. Obviously, I actually think that it's just overall just very cool that they do that. Like every single year, they like get a little creative, they get a little bit weird sometimes, but in all of the right ways, because they then can just like go loose a little and just come up with these very cool and very unique acoustics. And like all of the three that I've played and held, they were all just built incredibly well. So yeah, this one is no exception to that. So yeah, listen hear what it sounds like. But first, if you're interested in this very cool limited edition 2025 Takamine 2025 OM acoustic guitar in a beautiful evergreen finish, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of cool acoustic guitars like these, cool electric guitars, bass guitars even, all of that really cool stuff. Also be sure to like us and follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. With all that being said, let's see what this really cool and very unique limited edition Takamine OM acoustic guitar sounds like. Going to be playing you some chords and then some fingerstyle playing, so that you can get a good impression of what this very cool and very green acoustic guitar sounds like. So let's then move on to that part and let's take it for a spin.